Hi everyone, it's Christina from Christina's Art Corner. Welcome. And today I thought we could spend some time with each other and work on some WIPs. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm working out of the Mythographic Dragonspell by Joseph Kattenbang. And you all saw that I had started this page. I basically had the lightest blue water done, a little bit of the face, hands, and legs on the girl. I did the fish, some coral, and the sand down here, and I'll show you so far what we have. Now, I went in with this Copic marker YR04 and the Y140 for the dragon. And after doing that, I decided that I was going to use Black Widow pencils. And so I'll show you closer without blinding you from the plastic. I'm working in this range here. So from light rust to fire. I didn't want to get too red because I didn't want to interfere with the telephone booth. And what I did with the telephone booth is I used, where is it? I used a green to go in and create like mossy growth on the telephone booth, and then I went over it with some reds, and I did these two Cali Art, R317 and R338. I like using the fine tip, and this one's like it's a burgundy color. So I used those just to give you kind of a background of what I used. And then I used the Copic B14 and let's see here. Also used these colors here for the background. So at first I just went in with the crystal blue, the PB110. And then I decided I wanted to kind of make some darkness on the outside. So I went ahead and blended those. To the right of my desk, the reason why I'm Christina's Art Corner, because I am literally in a corner. So I have this desk here and a desk to the right. Okay, so I think that gives you a little bit of a background. I figured I would go ahead and show how I'm going to shade this dragon. I'm using fire, which is appropriate on the Black Widows from the Cobra set, and I'm just going to go in between where I see some of the hash marks. You can see I've already done some here, and I'm just going to go in and create some shadows on the page. Let me get you down closer. Hopefully that's close enough and light enough, because it's really bright for me. Okay, so then I want to go in these areas here and in between these lighter yellow portions. And when I color, I kind of go around no rhyme or reason. Just what my eye is catching in the moment. So how is everybody doing? For those of you in the States, did you have a nice 4th of July, at least with your family? No, it wasn't as hot as it is today. Yesterday, and my family got together and we had a little grill out and spent some time together, which was nice. It's always nice when you can get together and share a meal. Any excuse is good. We had the Formula One racing practice on the TV. My daughter is into Formula One, so that was nice to watch and learn about the G's that they experience. You know, they have, apparently they all have like really strong necks, because even in their practice, they're put through, similar to fighter pilots, like rigorous force against their body to emulate what it's like to be under that kind of G-force. That was fun to watch. I've never really been into car racing, but I like to dab in what my children are taking up as their joys and join in. Okay. All right. Now, when it comes over here, I've already done some here, and you'll see it looks very, like, not blended, because here we go. All right. Okay, so I went into the fire here, and I'm leaving this little highlight here from the alcohol marker. And then I'm just gonna go to a lighter shade because I don't have much room here. I need to get to my lightest up at top. And there's no room on that one. And this is the light rust, so this is my lightest orange. And I'm just gonna go in and blend that in there. And then I'm gonna go back with the fire one more time. Just to reinforce that shadow line. Okay. All right. Now back with fire. I'm gonna go in between. It makes my eyes buggy. Trying to figure out what is what. That's one thing about the mythographics. You just have to figure out what is what while you're coloring. And sometimes just planning it prior to is difficult. I've pretty much laid out most of the coloring on the page as far as what colors I'm using, except for these areas here that are not touched. Let's see, that is, okay. All right. And then I'm gonna skip through a few colors and go and blend a little bit. Shmoo is with me, so you might hear barking at some point. Just warning you. He was terrified of the fireworks, so I don't want to close him off today. It takes them a couple of days to get over that when they're scared of fireworks. Okay, that's looking sharp. And I went in, these are all hash marks here. I'm just extending that a little bit on some of them. Okay, now, wherever there is, what do you call these? These areas here. I'd say like maybe the cartilage of the wing set. I'm gonna go and follow the shadow line with the fire. and go on either side. And then here, create a shadow there. Okay. Then I have a darker shadow right under here. And I don't have to be too careful because it's all gonna blend. Okay, then we have the dragon breath. And there are some lines going up here, so I'm going to use this dragon breath to accentuate those lines. All right. Then I'm going to go in with carrot. And come down to the bottom here. And just lightly kind of go over the bottoms here. And then I'm going to go all the way to the light rust to fill in the rest. And then go back with my fire and redefine, because whenever you're blending, it's gonna take some of the vibrancy out. You just have to put it back in. Okay, so that's looking good. Now I got to go back to this portion here. And wherever I have the yellow is where I'm trying to go around with this shadow to try to keep those yellow highlights on the dragon popping, which I can always go in with a gel marker or pencil, but I probably will do a gel pen. Perhaps. We'll see if I get that far today, because I want to show you a few pages. Okay, I want to go in with my pumpkin and just hit the bottom here. Just a little bit, and then I want to go back with the fire and go on the bottom. I'm gonna sharpen. Okay. Which will also highlight this yellow line on the dragon on the bottom. Okay. All right. I do start out with a harsh line purposely on wax pencils because it's going to be very easy to blend off of them. So it's almost like I'm outlining at first. Okay, and then I'm also going to do a line right up against this area here, like right on the line. And I got some here already, but I need to do more. All right, let's go to, I'm skipping over some sometimes if I, because it would be hard for me to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pencils in a small area. So I'm just gonna skip to sundown. And go upwards a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to do the pumpkin, and I'm going to go back over those colors I've already done a little bit to get my blend. And then light rust on the top. And then I want to go back with my fire red. Hit these shadows. So that's looking nice so far. All right. Now I haven't quite decided on her outfit. We could do some of this kelp. I'll probably do alcohol marker for that. Let me go in light first. Let me do some little swatching here. That's GY 42, GY 8. That's dark. Do the GY 5. Okay, these 3. All right, let's go with my lightest and let's cover all of these. So I have been thinking a little bit about my channel, my routines, and I have discovered about myself that I bought several planners to be organized, and I wind up using them in the beginning and then I quit. I'll show you what I mean. I've had small ones where like I would write down, you know, stats and things and my hashtags and buddy colors. I do like to do it. I just don't wind up keeping up with it. I would get these and write down what books I'm gonna color in. Mainly for YouTube, to be honest, and some reflection for me. But I wind up not carrying through with it. So I abandoned that one. And I have several others, and I've just decided, okay, I can use those supplies. My grandchildren absolutely love all of my planner stickers and accessories for planning. And so they will get used. I prefer doing like an art journal, which has nothing to do with keeping stats, is what I'm finding. So I'm not going to count how many pages I do in a month anymore, because I enjoy just opening a book and starting to color. And I wasn't doing that before because I thought, you know, I need to be organized, and I am an organized gal. But I'll be honest, my health sometimes doesn't allow for that ease of things, and I'd rather just come on camera like I'm doing now, if that's okay with you all, and just color. Just have some fun coloring. Now I am gonna do some like self reviews on some supplies that I'm waiting on a particular organization supply to arrive. That's coming from the UK or Australia, sorry. And so I was waiting to use that for my swatches on my Neocolor 2s and my Lyra aquarels and Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, because I want to use a swatching system that is going to make it easier for you all and me when I make that video, which will be soon. So yeah, self-discovery, just realizing what works. You know, I've been at this for 3 years now on YouTube, and I find that you all necessarily don't need that from me, and I'm good with that. Because it just, to be honest, it winds up taking time away from actual coloring. And yeah. I want to be able to, you know, explore new things in coloring with you all, and not necessarily have steadfast plans on what I'm gonna do. Just some practices that I use in my coloring that may be helpful to someone That's my hope anyway. 'Cause once you've been doing this for, you know, like the 3-year mark, I've gotten, you know, the books that I really want to have. And you all saw that I did the Lulu Mayo new book. Did a flip through. So there are certain, you know, books that of course I won't be on a no buy. But if you go back through my channel, I've done quite a few hauls. So that's there for you all when you want to see what books are in my collection. I'm also doing a collection series, and I just wanted to give you all a break from me doing those and do something else for a little bit, so that those videos aren't the only thing that I'm putting out. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy a bit of the change. I just find that stats put pressure unduly, and it's more YouTube generated for me. For me, I'm speaking only my opinions. You all know I have some health challenges, so if I use that time right to be organized about what I'm coloring and when I'm coloring and how many and all that, it actually takes away from the time I actually color. And that's what I'm basically not enjoying. And I don't think it's fun for you all either. So let me know in the comments if you're good with that. I mean, of course, I am going to do it anyway, but I'm always interested in your feedback. I'm also very much a when I can color, you know, an hour here and there, half hour. And I find that when you are having to grab those little windows of time to color, yeah, you just want to be able to be free to pull out a book. Like I was doing my Untouched in a wheel. My Untouched, that didn't last too long because I do have quite a few untouched books, more touched than I do untouched, thankfully. But I do want to get to those. So I have a bunch of books to the right of me that I'm trying to get to without using a spinner wheel to choose from me. Because to be honest, sometimes when you use a spinner wheel, you wind up not wanting to actually color what it lands on. So although in theory I thought that would be a good thing to do, for me anyway, it wound up making me feel pressured to color something maybe I wasn't in the mood for at the time. So I don't know if any of this is making sense. In my brain it makes sense, but my brain doesn't work quite like it used to. With cervical dystonia that I have, you do get some difficulty finding your words. I definitely have that. It's a struggle for me. I never used to be that way, so it's scary when it happens, but I have to learn to embrace it because it's not going away anytime soon. By the way, if you like this color combination, it's GY42, GY5, and G130. So sorry, I should have been telling you that from the start. I'm very much filming as I actually would just sit down and color if you all weren't here. So, my apologies if I don't explain exactly. I will do better. I've always wanted to do like a WIP, you know, video kind of thing, more so than my coloring updates. Just sit down and color with you all. So anyway, long story short, I hope you like this. I'll still do coloring updates probably, like if I have new supply or something I'm trying out that might be beneficial to share, then I will do that. Okay, let's do the ones down here. All right. So yeah, I think it's you know, I didn't come out running with tutorials on my channel because this has been a journey for me. I didn't feel I'm gonna come out right the bat and start doing tutorials not having, you know, colored long enough to feel confident in making certain suggestions. I do feel more confident now, but I don't know that I have the editing time to like put each color that I'm using. So yeah, there's plenty of channels that do that, and they're so helpful. I think I can do better, you know, sharing what I'm using, share what maybe I had hopes would work really well in a coloring book and didn't, those kinds of things. Because we're all out here in the same space on YouTube, and we're all similar and different, which is great. So I think it gives you all, anybody that, you know, wants to see, you know, someone's process, there's plenty of that out there now, which is nice. And there are so many channels doing full color alongs. I feel if you've been watching me for any, you know, period of time and seen my completed pages, and if you like, you know, certain things I'm doing or supplies, like you all have asked for my Neocolor 2 review, if you will. And I like to do that because it's strictly based on me using them for a while. I've decided on my last 2 experiences with Artex and Ohuhu I do love their products, many of them, but I'm not going to do reviews anymore. The reviews that I'm going to do are the supplies that I have or buy myself. I'm not going to do any reviews where I've received supplies from the company. Which, let's just be frank. When you start a YouTube channel, first of all, when you get that first person, that first subscriber, and you know, and then you get, you know, 100, and then you get 1,000. Like, you never ever imagine, you know, people are gonna watch me. You know, it's a really surreal kind of experience. And one of the things I think most of us, you know, are so flattered that a company is sending us product and they want our opinion, you know, on it. And you feel flattered, you feel excited. It's kind of a milestone, I would say. But since the last two that I accepted, and I love Ohuhu and Artex, but the last two products I got sent, I just decided that I want to go a different route. If I see someone else is reviewing them and it's a channel that's, you know, I trust those opinions, which most are the case, then I'll buy them myself and I'll do a self-review. And I hope it doesn't feel like I'm blabbering on. I'm going to take this Posca and just hit the edge here after I clean my marker off. So I've got a bunch of junk on it. This one's about to wear out. If I ever go over the lines, I just take a Posca marker. This one's running out. Or I could do a Uniball. And I just whiten up the edge, which I'll wait till it's dry to do it. Okay, so that is what we've done so far on this page. I think it's looking really nice. I'm loving how it's turning out. And I just need to decide what color I want to use for her dress and the rest of the flowers in here. And then what kind of corally things that I want to do here. So yeah, I'm loving how this is turning out. I might actually even go in with some green Black Widows to kind of designate the algae growth. I think that's what I might do. Anyway, you might see that in the next video. All right, so let's give this one a break. Mythographic Dragonspell. And I want to show you, I started a page in Lulu's House of Wonder. And I did an underlayer of yellow alcohol marker. I went over it with a black, but I did an underlayer of a yellow marker. And so I started out, here we go, you can see it a little better. I do have some glitter on this, and I'll show some shine on the surrounding flowers, the edge of this. I actually went over this with a gray over the yellow. I'm finding that I want to start doing more underlayer things. I used some Posca to make this ghost here and this one here, but still giving a glow. I mean, I'm far from done on this page, and I'm not. I did do some Huetopia watercolor on here and didn't like it too much, and then I went over it with an alcohol marker and there was resisting. So I think I'll wind up doing some gel pen or something on these leaves. And then I used some polychromos on here. And for the face, I wrote down, I haven't given her much, you know, definition yet, but I wrote down, I used the Cali Art 701 for her face so that I could use the same each time. So yeah, I started on that. I don't think I'm gonna, I did go ahead and start polychromos on this, but I erased it because I didn't like how the colors were mixing. It was going to be like a teal and blue flower, and then I thought that absolutely doesn't go with all the warm feel of everything. So I'm going to change that up. And my white Posca dots are turning pink here, so I'll have to go over those again. But I figured I would show you that so far. It's hard to tell what it's going to look like now because it's in its most ugly stage now. But yeah, so I'm working on that. And then I thought, let's work on Legendary Scapes. So let me make sure you will be able to see. Maybe not the escapes, maybe let's do Legendary Worlds. I gotta leave everything out on my desk so I can keep using it. I started this page here. Let me show you up a little closer. I'm using a lot of the Artex acrylic markers, the 90 set that they sent me. Figured I'll go ahead and use them up on these big pages. And so I've done this part so far. I've got some glitter on the teapot, and I've done the orange slices. Let me show you a little closer. And I used Neocolor 2s and Lyra Aquarelle combined up here in the sky. So I think what I want to do with you, I was trying to decide on what color to do for this, and I think I'm gonna go with a light purple. Might be a bad decision, but that's what I'm gonna do. So let's find, this is the lightest purple in the set. Let me just test these two. Yeah. Okay, all of this area here, everything that's being poured, I'm going to do with the Artex acrylic marker, and then I'm going to have to change this because I used this purple here, so I'm going to have to make that a darker cupcake, otherwise it's going to run into each other. So let's start at the top. And I'll just do a little bit here. Now the one thing I'll say with these markers that I didn't like, that they weren't terribly opaque, but that works in my favor because if I go over the lines you see, I can still see them. So if I want to make that lighter or darker, I'll be able to do that. Okay. I zoom you in there. Hope what I was saying made some sense. Also, I just want to make it very clear that I'm not shading on anybody that keeps a planner, counts their pages. I'm absolutely not. And to be honest, if I was younger and healthier, I would do the same. I just have to use my coloring time that I get to actually color. And then I'm just using this system here where I have a note here. Let's see, am I doing it like this or this? I think it's this. And then I'll just take, this is what I'm doing instead. I take my washi tape. Let me find the end here, which is not always easy to find. There, I feel like that is an end. There we go. And I'll just stick it right on there. And I have what I'm using. And that just works for me. Instead of doing the planner. I'll be honest, probably something that had to do with that decision too is when I lost my dad in December of last year. I was really into the planning. And there's something about losing someone very important in your life. It's like everything was centered around, you know, when he was ill, when he passed, when I was going to go to visit. I think it also tainted that process. So it's not just one reason alone, you know. I have finally gotten to a better place with, you know, my dad being gone. My mom is doing well, which has helped. She's getting her health in order, and my sister is helping her a lot in Florida where she lives, so I try to be as supportive as I can since I'm not actually there. Also, I want to organize all of my supplies as far as my swatches. I'd rather revamp all of that than take the time to write down, you know, what books I'm coloring in and so on and so forth. I think I'm going to go over the stars too because I'll still be able to see them. Let's see if you can see that okay. Yeah. Okay. Things we learn as we go. I was never a fan of swatching my supplies. Obviously I did, but I wasn't a fan of it. Now I want to take the time to, like, I have several books, not just one book. And once you have a good list of supplies going, yeah, you definitely need your swatching materials to be organized. So I'll be working on that as well. I'll of course show you once I get a system going. I'm not sure what I'm going to color the land, because like these strawberries and things are on land of some sort. And this area is where I meant that I'm going to have to do a darker cupcake. Keep checking to make sure that I'm in your field of vision. I'm gonna figure out if I want to do like a darker spill of purple from the teapots. That's why I'm leaving them the way that I am. Okay, have this area here. Okay, I think that's all of the liquid that I have to cover. Maybe this little bit down here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that works. Do we have some, do we think, I think this area here is also liquid. Okay, I think I have a good base for that. Now I could go in with white over the lines or a cream color. That might work. Let me take that other purple color and let me do some darker spillage. And I'll have the light fill the rest. Yeah. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna go on this side. Create a little puddle. Yeah, like that. And I'm thinking actually I could use, yeah, I could use the darker purple. Okay. Then what happens if I put the light a little bit in the center? I can blend it this way. Yeah. So I think that's gonna look good if I use these two and do kind of a blend. I'll do that all the way down. We'll just see. Let's see how it works out here. That's the lighter one. Yeah, I think that's going to work out nicely. Get a nice blend here. Oops, wrong color. Yeah, I really like how that's going to turn out. I'm happy with that spontaneity. Oh. I'm going to have to clear off the darker marker. It's got some light on it. Okay, so now you get to see how that's going to look. Both areas. Yeah, I think it'll look fun. Cool. You know, I've never thought that I would be a dessert or sweets or food kind of gal to color, and just goes to show you how things change over time. That's why we always have to be able to pivot and figure out our likes and dislikes over time. And I think, let me just, I am going to fix this portion here. This is like a fudge drip is how I'm treating it. And then I need to go darker. With the top. Make it a proper chocolate color. And then I'm going to go over it with the black one more time. That fudge. Okay. Let's see how that's looking better. It needs to dry, but it looks good. Should I use the same color combo for this pot, or should I use a different color? I wonder if you would help me out and leave a comment below on what do you think. Oh, I do have to do this one too. Okay, and then let me do the black. For that fudge swirl. There. I think that looks much better. I think I'm also gonna, I have a shaky hand when I'm trying to do details, so this is not easy. There. Okay. Now, yeah, that's looking better. Okay, so we'll put this one to the side. This is what I was meaning about like different swatch books. Of course, I have my pencils in these plastic sheets of back in the day when I had the companion book. I didn't even do the Sue colors because I don't really care for them, but I really haven't given them a great chance, so I need to do that. My Eragetin. And then I have some, I've got some of my Stabilo pastels. And then here are the Faber-Castell Polychromo Skin Tones, the Luminance, and Prismacolor. And I think I have one out for one of the other ones. But yeah, so I have this, which is bulky. You know, it's thick. And then I have this for water mediums. Here I have my Caran d'Ache Super Colors swatched out. And then I put my ink tints in here, which, oof, it's a bad swatch job. My Art Pop watercolor pencils, which I think I've actually gotten rid of. And my Albrecht Dürer. I had swatched them out on a really like long, thick watercolor paper, and so I chopped them up to put them in here. And then I gave myself some space. And then I have my Winsor & Newton Cotman 45 half pans. And then my Mia 36 palette set watercolors, not gouache. And then what else do I have in here? And then Ohuhu metallic acrylics. You can see all those. And then the Paul Rubens metallic watercolors. And then I have some of my metallic watercolors in here, but not all. Some Renaissance colors, really, really pretty ones. So yeah, I don't have all my watercolors, sparkling watercolors swatched out, so I need to do that before I give you a video on them. Some of them, when I was ordering them, she didn't put names on them, so that's kind of been a deterrent for me. I'll just have to go basically like what's in the tin, and like if there's 6, do 6 swatches even if they don't have a color name. So yeah, so I have this swatches of all of my Tule Art acrylic markers somewhere around, but I don't know where. So yeah, that's why I need to get them all in one place. I want to see if we can do a little more in Jagun. Let's see here. Okay. All right, what do I want to use in here as far as butterflies? I was using the Artex acrylics here too, but these are finer spaces. I think what I probably want to do is maybe pick some colors of alcohol markers. How about a pink? That's a bright pink. Let's go for it. So I'm going to do the whole thing. Now I have inked the background. And I'm not worried about going over the lines because I'm going to be shading under the butterflies to make them stick out more. I won't do the body, just the wings. I'll show you what I mean about putting a shadow. Let me pick a polychromo pink carmine. So what I'll do is I'll go right above. And around. This is why I say I would be good at tutorials, because I just grab stuff. You just grab stuff. Okay, and then once I'm done with my pencil work, make sure I went all around here. Then I'm going to take an alcohol marker, which I'm probably going to use a Caliart, and I'm going to use a gray because it gives me the fine tip. Yeah, and then I'm going to go right over my polychromo. Which smooths out the pencil and also helps to darken out it. Yeah, to help shade. And then I'm going to do right underneath this wing and this wing. Yeah. And let me go in with a blue. Let me go in with this Prussian blue over the blue one. Okay. This gives it a nice definition, especially with the acrylic marker. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my Caliart and go over that. One more time for good measure. And I'll have to do it with this one. What I might do is just use the gray just on the outside of that alcohol acrylic marker. And then what color do I want to use for this? Maybe this light violet. This might be too light. Yeah, it is. Let me go with might be a little bit too dark. That's the V340. Let me go with a V230 on the Oohoo. Yeah. Now I'll tell you with that alcohol marker, the V230, I want it to be maybe a little brighter. Let me let that alcohol dry for a second and let me do a Neocolor 2 or a Lyra Aquarelle. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe want to do this one, Neocolor 2. This is the Periwinkle Blue. And I've got a water brush here. Let's get it a little wet and then wet the top of the Neocolor 2. And then I can go in and make that a different purple. And I think I can even go darker. And I'm going to use the Neocolor Lilac, Neocolor 2. And I'm just going to use some of that. Yeah. Just giving it a wash, really. Okay, wash that off, and then I always I use watercolor, like mixed media paper underneath my one-sided pages. Well, either one or two, but I just fan it a little bit, and then I'm gonna use the alcohol marker again. And I'll show you, I can use a dark purple polychromo. Let's use this one here. This is the mauve. So I'm showing you that you can do this in either order. You can do your pencil work first, or you can do the alcohol marker, or you can do layering. And then I'm going to go back over with the alcohol marker, smooth out the polychromo. The marker picks up some of that pencil and darkens it. So yeah. Yeah, it gives it a little definition there. I probably could do an orange. Let me get, this is light cadmium red, but it's kind of like an orange. And I'm gonna do an orange outer layer here. I think it definitely looks better with the pencil. What do you think? I really do need to learn to live stream, because this would probably flow better. Especially not having to edit it too. Although Shmoo, my dog Shmoo, sometimes barks, and I try to edit that out. But then I could read your comments and we could chat. I will figure out what I have as far as equipment and work on that for fall maybe. Alright, and then I'm going to go back in with the alcohol marker to basically just smooth the polychromo. And let me do it around the head this time. There we go. Okay, so there we have it. I think it makes it stand out a little better doing that. What do you think? And look at the mess that's on the desk. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this impromptu coloring and spending some time with me while I'm working on my WIPs for July. Again, I don't have any pre-planned except for group buddy colors this month. And so yeah, again, I hope if you liked this way of doing things that you'll be sure to like the video. I'm hoping to color with you more. Yeah, let's think about doing some lives maybe here soon, working towards maybe the beginning of fall, end of summer. And that way we can do this kind of stuff together, and hopefully it's enjoyable for you. It is for me, and I wind up getting some things done and give you a video too. So you all take care and have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Happy coloring. Bye-bye.